more people are leaving California than are moving into California.
Let me bring up
coming to California the other way around the last 2 years. But let's talk about crime.
Governor, hold on. Governor, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
He's said a lot of things that were factually untrue, including that 50-year crime low, which his own law enforcement team said you should not be using.
You have yet to address the issue, but I asked you twice. You don't want to answer it. But the issue of why the migration out of red states, out of blue states.
We just established more Floridians coming to California in the last 2 years than the
overall. You had a net loss of 7.
It's a fact.
Asserted it.
It's a fact.
No, it's not a fact.
It is a fact.
Moving on.
What's good, YouTube family? It's your boy Rashad with the Black Anomaly Rising Channel. All right, today's the day. So I actually totally forgot that this was coming up. Ron DeSantis versus Gavin Newsom. They agreed to debate. Now, why the RNC chair had an issue with Vivek debating Chris Christie, but did not have an issue with Ron DeSantis debating Gavin Newsom separately, I really don't know. My guess is because Newsom is Democrat and Vivek versus Chris Christie was Republican on Republican. So that's my only guess, but I really don't know. But anywho, I already know Ron DeSantis has accomplished a lot in Florida. So I already know he's going to freaking smoke Gavin Newsom. So I'm not going to show the whole entire debate here, but I'm going to break it up into pieces. Whatever the highlights are, that's what you guys are going to see from my perspective. So without further ado, let's get into it.
2021, 2022, California's lost 750,000 residents to other states. Governor DeSantis, during that same 2-year period, you gained 454,000 residents.
You almost have to try to mess California up. And yeah, that's what Gavin Newsom has done since he's been governor. He's the first governor to ever lose population. They actually, at one point, ran out of U-Hauls in the state of California because so many people were leaving. Of course, he's imposed restrictions on his own people while exempting himself from those restrictions and going to the French Laundry while his people were suffering. He led the country in school closures, locking kids out of school while he had his own kids in private school in person. Now, he's very good at spinning these tales. He's good at being slick and slippery. He'll tell a blizzard of lies to be able to try to mask the failures. But the reality is they have failed because of his leftist ideology. And the choice for America is this. What Biden and Harris and Newsom want to do is take the California model and do that nationally. In Florida, we showed that conservative principles work. This country must choose freedom over failure.
This is an important conversation, and I think it's important to the folks watching. They're probably wondering, what are we actually doing here? And I want to answer that very directly. I'll tell you why.
Am I the only one who thinks that Gavin Newsom literally looks like a used car salesman? Like, look at this dude's face. I mean, just look at, does this look like an honest man? I can't believe, I just don't understand people. And yes, I'm judging him off of more than his face, obviously. I'm just kidding. But it's like, that's part of it too. It's like the whole package. Just like, he got the slick back hair. Like, y'all never seen an anime before? Anybody with the slick back hair like that is villainous. Okay? All right. Jokes on.
I'm here to tell the truth about the Biden-Harris record and also compare and contrast Ron DeSantis' record and the Republican Party's record as a point of contrast that's as different as daylight and darkness. You want to bring us back to a pre-1960s world, America in reverse. You want to roll back hard-earned national rights on voting rights, on civil rights, on LGBTQ rights, on women's rights. You and President Trump are really trying to light democracy on fire.
Governor, great opening statement, but
Didn't
it
answer
did not
the question.
I
think that's what I was wondering. I was like, I was just about to say that he didn't even say anything. Like, he literally just like, he wants to just take away voting rights. He wants to, you know, he wants to attack anybody he disagrees with, and they're trying to destroy democracy. It's the same thing that's been regurgitated over and over and over again by this fake news media garbage. They just keep saying the same thing, and it doesn't mean anything. How are you destroying democracy? Like, Florida has been doing great economically. People are moving there. If it's so bad, why the hell people keep going there, and why they leaving California? Make it make sense.
So I was talking to a fella who had made the move from California to Florida, and he was telling me that Florida is much better governed, safer, better budget, lower taxes, all this stuff. And he's really happy with the quality of life. And then he paused and he said, and oh, by the way, I'm Gavin Newsom's father-in-law. And come to the state of Florida. And why are we getting people to come? We have a 50-year low in the crime rate. You don't see, in the last 10 years, we've had a 45% decline in homelessness. California's had a 45% increase in homelessness. More people are leaving California than are moving into California.
Let me bring up
coming to California the other way around the last 2 years. But let's talk about crime.
Governor, Governor, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
You said a lot of things that were factually untrue, including that 50-year crime low, which his own law enforcement team said you should not be using.
You have yet to address the issue, but I asked you twice. You don't want to answer it. But the issue of why the migration out of red states, out of blue states.
We just established more Floridians coming to California in the last 2 years than the
overall. You had a net loss of 7.
It's a fact.
Asserted it.
It's a fact.
No, it's not a fact.
It is a fact.
Moving on, property taxes are lower in California, but everything else is higher. Let's take a look at the numbers. These are the facts. The average property tax in California, 0.75%, Florida, 0.91%. Sales tax, California, 7.25%, Florida, 6%. Gas tax rate, California, 77 cents a gallon. That is a low estimate. It's up to $1 when you include mandatory fees, and in Florida, it's 35 cents. Corporate income tax, California, 8.84%, Florida, 5.5%.
How many people leave Florida to go to California because they pay less taxes? I've not seen that. Are people going from Florida to New York because they pay less taxes? Of course not. They come to Florida because they pay lower taxes. We don't even have an income tax. And yet California has a higher sales tax than we do, and that's one of the things that we do. But here's the thing, and I'll give Gavin credit. He did at least admit in his first answer, he's joined at the hip with Biden and Harris. He thinks Biden and Harris have done a great job. He thinks the economy is working because of their policies for Americans, and they are not. And so what California represents is the Biden-Harris agenda on steroids. They would love nothing more than to get 4 more years to be able to take the California model nationally. That would be disastrous for working people in this country.
We'll talk about working people. They pay more in your state than the state of California charges for billionaires and millionaires, and it's just a value proposition.
True.
It's a fact. Again, you can't make
you
these
have
things
$6
up.
or $7 a gallon gas. How do they afford that? These are folks that are blue-collar people.
You're going
to force everybody to buy an electric vehicle. How are they going to be able to afford electric vehicles if you're working-class people? And I think the thing about California, they have one of the highest inequality rates because, yeah, they've got Silicon Valley billionaires. They've got a lot of very wealthy people. They've got a lot of people that are on government assistance, but they've hollowed out their middle class. That's who's been leaving California.
Let's talk a little bit about Bidenomics, because I'm happy to take that on right now as well. And I think it's a fair point.
You're a big supporter of it. I appreciate you acknowledging
14 million jobs, 10 times more than the last 3 Republican presidents combined.
Because he had
815,000 manufacturing
the jobs were because of the COVID lockdowns. Are you kidding me?
3.9% unemployment as he continues to talk over me.
This is one of the biggest lies. And any Democrat that I hear repeat this instantly loses my respect. If you bring up jobs created from the Biden administration and you use the fake number that was people basically going back to work from having essentially lost their job during COVID because Democrats supported lockdown, and then they got their job back, and you want to count that as job growth, which that makes absolutely no sense to count that as job growth unless you're trying to be a slimy politician, disingenuous, just not an honest person in general, then I got no respect for you. And what I'm hoping is that the majority of American people see right through that. Because I'm like, it literally doesn't make sense. You can see with your own eyes that these people are lying to you. Like, it's the same jobs that people had before. So what the hell are you talking about?
They have the highest taxes in the nation. People flee to be able to save money to get out of California. And you have working class people that move to these other states. Their dollars go much further. But here's the thing. They want to take this Bidenomics and they want to double down on this for the next 4 years. How many people are able to afford groceries now compared to what you were doing 3 or 4 years ago? I talked to people, I talked to a woman who had a cart full of groceries going in, and they're ringing it up. and it got to be so expensive, she has to take a lot of the stuff out. That didn't used to be the case. People used to be able to work hard and get ahead. That is not true under Joe Biden. And you know what, Sean, one more final thing. California's unemployment rate is 60% higher than Florida's unemployment rate. Our unemployment rate is 2.8%.
That dovetails into my next question,
Why?
Governor.
Because it's a command and control economy. They have a political agenda that they're pursuing.
Let me
at the
ask that
expense of
question.
People.
On with the question of jobs. I think it's important. You know what? That affects
By the way,
that affects everybody.
Biden administration, the last 3 years, it's been a master
Joe Biden paying you tonight?
3.9%.
I thought this was state versus state.
No, but it's about the United States of America. I thought this guy was running for president of the United States. If
You
you're
are
running
too.
for a
You just won't
you're
admit
running
it.
for a third
You
term.
just
Sounds like
won't
you're
admit
running
it.
for a
You will not
third
admit it.
term.
Why don't you
All right,
just
gentlemen.
admit that you're running? They tax too much. They regulate too much. They have a political agenda. It's not a good climate for business. They've lost a lot of companies. A lot of companies have moved to Texas. We have had some to Florida, but they've lost a lot of companies to Texas because they're not doing a good job looking out for folks and not creating a good business environment. And they feel like when they're in California, they don't want business to succeed.
Is that what
and all
Disney's
that
saying,
stuff.
the Tampa Bay Rays?
Well, actually, yeah. I think that's an interesting point with Disney because I had Disney open during COVID, and we made them a fortune, and we saved a lot of jobs. You had Disney closed inexplicably for over a year. You were not following science. You were a lockdown governor. You did a lot of damage to your people. You had more kids locked out of school for a longer period of time in California than anywhere else in the country. It was the working class kids. It was the middle income kids. His kids were in private school. They were in class in person.
We'll get to COVID.
He locked people out because of the
wait,
teachers' union. He is owned by the teachers' union. You will never cross the teachers' union.
This is where the facts come in. Your state's death rates were almost identical.
This is factually untrue.
Hold on.
Factually untrue.
Okay. And by the way, both your states, with such different approaches, which is pretty fascinating, were both lower, significantly lower than the national average.
So how the hell? So y'all heard Gavin Newsom in the background. It's untrue. It's untrue. It's from the CDC. I thought CDC was pretty much y'all's church, y'all's gospel, y'all's Jesus. Jesus. Well, technically it was Fauci, but the church was CDC for y'all. What you talking about is untrue. I'm so confused now. Well, we don't believe the CDC because sometimes they was wrong. Matter of fact, they was wrong a lot, so we don't believe them. I mean, I ain't saying I believe them, okay, because I don't. But sometimes they had some of the facts. They just had certain things wrong in regard to what you should do. They were just making stuff up. Oh, wear the mask. Oh, wear the face shield. Oh, don't wear the face shield. Don't wear the mask. Stand 6 feet. Oh, it doesn't actually matter. The vaccine works. Oh, it kind of works. You know, it's like they didn't freaking know. Nobody really knew. And it turns out a lot of the people who were conservative were right from the beginning. A lot of people who were independent were right from the beginning. The people who was wrong most of the time and was beating you over the head, like literally, like they practically wanted to beat you down over this, was Democrats. Because it turned into this stupid political issue somehow where Democrats doing one thing and conservatives doing something else. They was the ones who was going crazy and nuts about it. In a nonsensical way. And then talk about some COVID forgiveness. Kiss my ass.
That's not what the stats say right there.
Tens of thousands of people unnecessarily died.
Don't lie about it. He put the graphic up there. Don't lie about it.
Unnecessarily
you don't need to lie about it.
because your policies.
Just understand. You don't need to lie about it. No, it's not.
You were a lockdown governor.
No, it's
you
not.
locked down.
One at a time. What is the combined rate of homicide, rape, robbery, aggravated assault the year 2022? On the national level, the rate was 380.7 offenses per 100,000 people. In California, meanwhile, the rate was much higher, 499.5 offenses per 100,000.
And you spent a little more time back in your home state and addressed the murder and gun violence in your own backyard.
So this is the slick politician. You put up the rates. He has 500 per 100,000. Florida is 250. So that's almost twice as much. And he's trying to spin that to say California's doing good. A lot of the women tell me they have to take off all their jewelry just to be able to go shopping, because otherwise they're going to get mugged. That is the reality that people are facing in California. Gavin can try to put lipstick on that pig, but the fact of the matter is he has failed the people of California. I actually have something that I brought that some parents have objected to. So this is a book that's in some of the schools in California.
Wow.
Florida, this is not consistent with our standards, called Gender Queer. Some of it's blacked out. You would not probably be able to put this on air. This is pornography. It's cartoons. It's aimed at children, and it's wrong. So this should not be in schools. When people like on the left say that somehow you're banning books by removing this from a young kid's classroom. No, this is not age appropriate. And so we're going to stand for the rights of parents. I think we need to do that nationwide. I don't think you can have a situation where some states just trample on the rights of parents.
Some of the books you're talking about, one is called, the governor just brought it up, it's called Gender Queer, a memoir, explicit pornographic book showing sex acts. Another, Flamer, graphic book about young boys performing sex acts at summer camp. This book is Gay, a book containing instructions on the ins and outs of gay sexuality. Let me finish. Let's Talk About It, a book that contains graphic descriptions about how to masturbate for males and females. My question to you, Governor Newsom, those books, do you believe that's appropriate for school districts to teach kids, yes or no?
Come on, those aren't, it's not part of the curriculum. They're not teaching
those
kids
are those are books that were in school.
Hold on. The bottom line is you are on a book banning binge, your state. 1,406 books, 3,300.
This dude is a slime ball. He hasn't answered, I don't know if he's answered a single question from this debate directly. I don't think he's done that one time. Like, instead he just talks in circles and riddles and stuff. Because, okay, to his credit, they're not teaching it, but it's in the school. So the question is, at minimum, is it okay to have the books in the school? He doesn't want to say no because he doesn't want to offend LGBTQ folks who I guess maybe for some weird pedophiliatic type reason, might want some of these books in school. Which you shouldn't. And you probably need to get your computer, your phone, and your iPad or whatever checked if you agree with having some of these books in the school. Now, in terms of some other books, if he can bring up some very specifics, that actually were removed from being in libraries in Florida, like banning is a strong word. That implies that the book is like not allowed, like in the library, at Barnes and Noble, can't get it from Amazon. Like it's literally grades K through third. K through third. So you literally can still access some of these same books in higher grades. Like, I don't understand what the hell the big issue is with this, but it's a whole lot of a nothing burger, is my opinion.
If you're a parent in Iowa or New Hampshire or South Carolina, your minor child can go to California without your knowledge or without your consent and get hormone therapy, puberty blockers, and a sex change operation, all without you knowing or consenting. How in the heck is that honoring parents' rights when you're bringing people from out of state to go around their parents' backs and getting life-altering surgeries? That is radical. That is
Ron,
extreme.
these kids
that is an assault on parents' rights.
You know what, Ron?
It's not for you to decide. It's for the parents to decide. And the parents do not want their kids going to these other things.
Let me go to a follow-up. Let me stay on a follow-up. Let's turn to the issue of education.
Where's your decency and humanity?
This dude is sick. This dude is a freaking sicko. You really think that that's okay? Now he's trying to throw a guilt trip. I'm freaking insane. You trying to throw a guilt trip because Ron DeSantis doesn't agree with kids who might, like a little boy wants to be a little girl, and Ron DeSantis says, ask your mom and dad first. You trying to throw a guilt trip about that? This dude is sick. I can't believe people in California support this nutcase. It's insane.
Here is public school spending per K through 12 students, according to the Education Data Initiative from the U.S. Census Bureau and National Center for Education. Florida spends nearly $12,000 per student, while California spends over $16,000 Florida is ranked #1 by U.S. News & World Report.
Wow.
In terms of state education rankings, California ranks 20th. Governor Newsom, what is your expectation?
Yo, this dude, Gavin Newsom's been getting his ass beat by these facts that they keep posting. I'm curious. And the crazy thing is, people like in my comment section and just all over the internet in general and other videos and stuff people posting, they'll be repeating some of these similar type of talking points, just ignoring the data when convenient and just making stuff up. It's like Florida's doing good. You cannot question Ron DeSantis on his record. Like it's just like not a doable thing. You can make fun of his boots. You can make fun of his smile. You can, I don't know, cherry pick some stuff, but you're not going to get him on his record in Florida. His record is practically flawless in Florida. Like, most people in Florida is doing good. Even Disney, who tried to go to war with him, they're still doing good in Florida overall. Like, they got some other issues with their movies, but they're doing good. You can't challenge him on his record without just making ish up.
Joe Biden is in the pocket of the teachers union, and so is Kamala Harris. That's why they fought
by the way,
school
it's not
openings
Kamala Harris.
when he
Shame
came
on
in
you.
there.
It's Kamala
when they had
Harris,
that in
Ron.
there.
It's Kamala
Biden came
Harris,
into office
Madam
and he
Vice
brought in the
President,
teacher
to you.
union.
That will
This dude,
seemingly
can you believe that this dude tries to make it a freaking issue about Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris is like, who the hell cares? That's close enough. He didn't say Keisha Harris. He didn't say Kamisha Harris. He said Kamala Harris. Who the hell cares? Like, is this guy serious? It's like my freaking, bitch, I got a headache.
I'd like to get you on the record. You've been unwilling to answer this question. Should there be any restrictions on the issue of abortion that you support at all? Because funding in California, you have allocated in your budget $265 million for abortion last year alone. My question, very specific. Do you support any restrictions at all on abortion, especially in months 7, 8, and 9, past viability?
I'm going to answer that question, but let's talk about the issue of abortion. Let's talk about the issue of abortion.
You're going to answer it?
I'm going to answer that question. I'll repeat that. But I think this is important, and it bears repeating. People aren't going on and having abortions.
Should it be illegal then?
Unless something
If it's
devastating
rare,
has happened.
should it be illegal?
It should be up to the mother and her doctor and her conscience. And it
So
almost
the answer is
always,
no restriction.
I've already answered it, and I'll just
restriction.
reinforce it. To cover up, again, hold on, for the most extreme abortion ban in the country. I have a simple question, though. This is important.
No.
Will you
I'm asking the question.
Ron DeSantis, will you or will you not sign a 6-week ban in the unlikely case you
Governor
become president of the
DeSantis,
States?
let's talk about
This dude, I mean, snake oil salesman. I can't even, like, the gymnastics being played is just so off the charts. Where essentially he doesn't want to answer whether or not the government's ever going to be involved. Essentially, his answer is no. So that's what Hannity, that's why he said, okay, his takeaway is Gavin Newsom doesn't agree with any real abortion law. The only thing he agrees with is that you can get one. Whenever, however, you can get one. That baby ain't popped out of that stomach, you can get the abortion. That's basically what he's saying. He just doesn't want to answer directly because he don't want a clip to be played over and over and over and over again, and for him to have to, I guess, just deal with that.
Joe Biden is experienced what I believe to be significant cognitive decline. And in other words, it's the toughest job in the world. Is Joe Biden experiencing this cognitive decline? Is it a danger to the country? Do you find when he speaks, what is your reaction to it?
Yes, he's in decline. Yes, it's a danger to the country. He has no business running for president. And, you know, Gavin Newsom agrees with that. He won't say that. That's why he's running his shadow campaign. He should not be running. He is not up to the job. And it is dangerous for this country.
Well, I will take Joe Biden at 100 versus Ron DeSantis any day of the week at any age. In fact, all of the folks
you think
on the
he's up to the
campaign
job?
trail.
You think he's 100%?
I've been spending
100%?
plenty of time with Joe
100%?
Biden in
Okay.
private and
Let him
public.
answer.
Called him on a lot of the lies, but he says Joe Biden is 100% up to the job. You know that that's not true. Anybody that can look, he wants you to believe him over your own lying eyes. They want to kneecap fossil fuels and reliable energy. We've already seen what's happened in California. They have rolling blackouts. He actually implemented a mandate to buy electric vehicles. So pretty soon in California, you're not going to be able to buy a normal car, only electric vehicles. And they celebrated that as like a great thing. A couple days later, there was a notice from the state government telling all EV owners, do not plug in your EV because they don't have enough grid capacity. So he is walking his people into a big-time disaster.
These are the numbers for the homeless population in each of your states. It is a big problem around the country. In the state of California, it is 172,000. In Florida, it is 26,000. Now, the per capita numbers are pretty much the same. For California, it is 44 per 10,000 people, while Florida has 12 per 10,000 people.
In the last 10 years in California, the homeless has gone up 45%. It's gone down in Florida 45%. They've really empowered lawlessness and drug use. And, you know, Gavin Newsom at one point tried to say that California was the freedom state. I just kind of laughed, like, you're locking people down, you're doing all this. But then I thought about it, you know, California does have freedoms that some people don't, that other states don't. You have the freedom to defecate in public in California.
Wow.
You have the freedom to pitch a tent on Sunset Boulevard. You have the freedom to create a homeless encampment under a freeway and even light it on fire. You have the freedom to have an open-air drug market and use drugs. You have the freedom, if you're an illegal alien, to get all these taxpayer benefits. So people are leaving the state because they have failed in addressing the homeless population.
Well, I love the rant on freedom. I mean, here's a guy who's criminalizing teachers.
This dude is smoking Newsom. Smoking him. Because, yes, even Anna Kasparian, I put up a video about that some time ago. Even Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks. Super liberal back in the day. You know, fresh out of college, indoctrinated, right? I went to college. I remember what it was like. So, yes, even she's turned on California. She still lived there, but she's turned on it. She said she questioning the policy because she said it's filthy, it's nasty, and she's tired of it. And then this fool is just going to sit up here and try to lie about it the entire time.
He needs it.
This is a map of San Francisco. There's a lot of plots on that. You may be asking, what is that plotting? Well, this is an app where they plot the human feces that are found on the streets of San Francisco. And you see how almost the whole thing is covered, because that is what has happened in one of the previous greatest cities this country's ever had. Human feces is now a fact of life, except when a communist dictator comes to town. Then they cleaned up the streets. They lined the streets with Chinese flags. They didn't put American flags there. They cleaned everything up. So they're willing to do it for a communist dictator, but they're not willing to do it for their own people.
Hey, guys, so, I mean, you guys probably already tell by my reaction, like, and by the title and the thumbnail, what I thought about the debate. So, obviously, Gavin Newsom, this was foolish to begin with. Gavin Newsom, in my opinion, isn't going to do good against any type of conservatives in debate, with the exception of maybe like Chris Christie or Tim Scott, like people who can't debate at all. But if he has to, imagine if this was Newsom versus Vivek, slaughtered, Trump destroyed, Nikki Haley, even Nikki Haley would probably obliterate this man, because California, hell, you could get people that live there to debate him and they would destroy him, because California has been doing horrifically. Like, you saw the statistics. Terrible crime rate, education, like the homeless situation. It's like, these are literally, with sources, by the way, right? It's like the facts are literally on the screen. Ron DeSantis rectum got a picture showing people pooping all over the damn place. Poop. Defecation. Here with the picture of the gender queer book. Showing it looked like one boy on his knees, another dude getting sucked off. It wouldn't even answer questions about that, if it's okay to remove that book. Like, wouldn't answer the question about abortion, if he agrees with any type of abortion restriction at all. Didn't answer the questions. It's like, I can't believe that this dude thought this was a good idea. And of course he's running a shadow campaign to be president. Now, I disagree with people who think that Gavin Newsom wants to be president now. I think that this is him getting set up to win as president later. In my opinion, it's going to be between Ron DeSantis, Vivek, Gavin Newsom. in 2028. Okay, so I think that this is them kind of setting that stage, because I don't think it's any of their time yet, but I do think that it's coming later on after it is Joe Biden freaking gets destroyed by the GOAT, Donald J. Trump. So anyway, y'all, those are my thoughts. Of course, Ron put the smack down on Gavin Newsom because there wasn't nothing you could do against Florida's record, and California's record is terrible right now. So of course Ron DeSantis won. It was a slam dunk. It was easy. You didn't even have to be a good debater to do it. But anyway, y'all, let me know what y'all think, though. Do y'all think California's doing incredibly? And Ron DeSantis is delusional? Let me know what y'all think. If you enjoyed this video, thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate y'all watching. Black Anomaly rising. I'm out.